one of the things that came through really strongly in the research was the importance of teams in leadership. So that's the importance of teams in doing those three elements of the leadership function. And there were a lot of reasons for that. Firstly, teams bring lots of different knowledge to the table. Different knowledge about the context, about the situation, different skills, you know, logisticians and programming people and information people, IT people. They also can support each other, you know, by having a team very involved in leadership rather than the individual leader. You have more continuity because we know that people move a lot, including people in leadership roles move a lot in humanitarian responses. And also you have the stress and the difficulties of leadership are spread to a degree across the team. So there were lots of really good reasons why, I mean, sort of reasons that make sense why on paper teams should be an important element of leadership. And what we found is that they are. It's important to recognize, though, that just having a team and just involving the team in leadership isn't a magic bullet. It only works if it's a good team. You know, you have to have good team leadership. And there are a variety of things that leaders and the people around them, you know, the leadership teams in country offices can do to ensure that they actually make themselves effective and make team leadership effective. And they're fairly simple and perhaps for many of the people in the trainings, very obvious things, but it's surprising how often they're not done. So the sort of things that I'm thinking about here are ensuring that people in the team know what their roles are. You know, clear role clarity among the sort of executive group in the office. And also clear role clarity in terms of the country office and regional offices and local offices or district offices, so it's just clear who makes what kind of decisions and who's responsible for what. Another thing that's really important is clarity around processes. You know, does everybody know how decisions get made? And does everybody know when a decision has been made? You know, is that clear? So processes related to decision making, processes related to information management as well, you know. Is it clear how information is shared and the kind of information that should be shared? These are the sort of things that can be fairly easily put in place and which do seem to make a big difference in terms of the effectiveness of the team to fulfill a leadership role. Another piece which is much harder to develop for teams is trust. Time and time again in the interviews, the T word came up. People talked about trust as being what differentiated an effective from ineffective teams. And trust is a difficult one, as we all know. It's easier to build it over time and on the basis of success. So if you have a team who are enjoying success and they're working together and they get to know each other, it's very likely that trust will be built. But what do you do if you don't have those opportunities? What do you know, particularly with team rotation and people rotating a lot? Well, a lot of the literature seems to suggest that the basis of trust is not necessarily whether or not you like your colleagues, not necessarily whether you have good relations with your colleagues. The basis of trust is actually the degree to which your colleagues do what you expect them to do and the degree to which they do it with a level of competence. And so that is something that teams can think about. You know, how can they facilitate that? Again, if roles are clear, it becomes much easier to build trust because people know what each other are expected to do. If procedures are clear, again, people will tend to behave in a way that their colleagues expect them to behave because they'll all be following the same procedures. So we come back to this piece that doing some fairly basic work around the roles and the procedures of teams is good not only in and of itself, but it's also good because it does help to develop the trust, which is a key component of effective team leadership.